also reports that 3,045 sexual assaults were reported in the United States last year, right? And 5,981 over the past 2 years. So the trend is going this way, more sexual assaults. Now, what I'm thinking, and this is the New York Times, a newspaper that I actually enjoy reading daily, right? I always buy the hard copy, LA Times, New York Times, put it in my car for my clients in our downtime. We read a lot, and we come across articles like that. And it came to no surprise that my fellow YouTubers were also all over this story, because we should be, right? This is still next to, this is still the number one concern that every driver and every passenger should have, and that is, are we safe in our vehicles? Tommy, I welcome you to the house. Keck Army comes in, and LOL, I would say right away that's a troll, so we remove him. Alan Mitz is in the house, James Campbell. Let me just get rid of this little troll, just flush him. Boom, bye-bye. And it's alarming on many levels. I was actually pretty shocked. I was pretty shocked, right? And in the scheme of things, right, they have, let's say, I think it's 1.3 billion trips last year, 3 million trips every single day, right? And within those trips, you have 3,045 sexual assaults. Now, the public, right, the people reading the paper would automatically think, well, sexual assaults, to drive with a driver cannot be safe. This is my son. I'm going to just tell him, hey, it's Daddy. I'm going to call you back. Is anything urgent? Hey, Ryan, Dad's on a live stream. Is it urgent? Otherwise, I'll end the live stream. If not, can I call you back? Okay, I love you. I'll call you back. Bye. Nothing urgent, so we continue on. Sorry about the little interruption, but my kids come first. What the public reads is like, oh my God, it's unsafe to be in an Uber. And I'm sure in some way, this article, this report will impact their thinking, right? But, what's not taken into consideration, what's not broken down for us, like, is, males, females, right? There are a lot of female drivers. And I know of many, many female drivers that have reported right here in the live stream and had so much courage to share their story, because most of these stories are not even reported to the police, not even reported to Uber, because people feel ashamed, people feel scared, people feel threatened. So these are not the real numbers, my friends. These are just the reported incidents. There are so many unknowns. And I also think that there are many unknowns in the field of female drivers that have been sexually assaulted or hit on or grabbed or touched or whatever during a trip by male passengers. So it would be wrong for the public to point the fingers at us, at the drivers, and this is a driver channel. I represent the drivers. I'm a voice for the drivers. So I just want to let the public know, when you come across these figures, 3,045 sexual assaults last year, 5,981 in the last 2 years. This is not just all the driver. And those drivers, let's say male drivers that are doing this, that think that they can get frisky and crazy and whatever kinky and sexy in the car, cut it out, right? You shouldn't be in the frickin' business, firstly, right? And what I worry more is the parents that are allowing underage kids, guys and girls, going into the car, and that you may have predators or pedophiles out there feeding on this, right? So this should also be a big, big wake-up call to all parents, right? That you don't just simply let your kid get into a car with a complete stranger. Now, granted, the percentage, right? And it's a tiny percentage, right? It's 0.0002% of all trips, right? But when you hear this figure, it's pretty massive. 3,000 over 3,045 reported, and how many unreported. They also don't break down like, when does this take place? My guess, a lot of these incidents take place at night. People been drinking, people think like, oh, well, let's just say a passenger, male passenger, female driver, I'm paying, I own her, I can do what I want. No, you don't. There are very, very strict boundaries both ways. A driver, a male driver hitting on a female, maybe intoxicated passenger, that's not your ticket to freedom, my friend, that you can be all over her, right? You should not be driving. So when you want to get into the rideshare business, understand their laws and stick to the laws. And hopefully these people get caught out. Hopefully these reports may show, hey, this individual driver or this individual passenger did this multiple times, and there's repercussions. Maybe there's jail time, right? There was a guy in Florida who got 25 years jail because he was a repetitive sexual assault person, I don't know what you'd call them, predator, feeding on these type of situations. Probably had tons and tons of trips on his belt, under his belt, and probably drove a lot at night, and probably fed, on the nightlife and very innocent, sweet, young victims, right? But the public needs to understand that Uber can do so much more. So this is a type of video that we have to jump on, that you guys, and I'm talking about Roy, Paula, Mark, all of these individuals, Garcia, God Complex. I'm just reading what God Complex says. This is hilarious. There's always going to be sexual predators out there. You ever notice the ones that like children tend to be crossing guards or work at schools? Predators, man. It's not hilarious, by the way. I think you're using the wrong word there. And if you do think this is hilarious, you should be ashamed of yourself using the word God complex, right? You should say rather, this is sickening. It's not hilarious. What I find strange is that they're coming out and issue this report. And what I think is that London put so much pressure on them with yanking the license that they wanted to see these numbers. So someone had access to some report that Uber had to hand in and stay compliant. I don't think that this is a story that they'd say, hey, we're going to announce to the world how many sexual assaults take place in Uber or Lyft. No, I think the hand was forced here. They had to report these numbers to certain agencies, and the press was all over it. And thank you for breaking this type of story, press and editors. Ladies like Kate Conger from New York Times writing this article, doing her research before they go into print. So these are based on real numbers, real God complex. We have a little troll in the house here, just going to flush that little shit down the sewage pipe. There he goes. There we go. We don't need that. We don't need people like that, right, Paula? We just don't need people like that in here. We flush them out, right? And it's good that we flush them out, because we get rid of all the bad tasting apples one by one, and they never get to return. So we have a quality audience. Candace, how are you? Candace says, compare those numbers to riding on public transport. In fact, there are some numbers that they found in New York. I think had over 500 sexual assaults in New York, in the state of New York, and on the open public transport system, the underground metro, etc. They That was the only sort of number that they were comparing this to, right? But it's still way too high. So what Uber does is they don't report on any of this stuff, right? Theirs is like secrecy, secrecy, secrecy until the story breaks, until the media breaks it. And then they like backpedal and they say, hey, you know, they try to package it up nicely. And that, hey, like they said here, Tony West, and I'll read this later, says, you know, this is a report that we want to put out there. No, it's not. It's a report that was demanded from you to remain compliant with certain countries and cities, and it was then exposed, right? And then he comes out and says, well, it's a report that every company should put out there. They never had the intentions to put these type of numbers or reports out. This was always hush hush until the story started breaking, right? Now, getting creative, finding solutions to these issues, to sexual assaults, to, you know, assaults in general, rapes, murders. They say that 58 people died in crashes, right? In 2018, 9 people were murdered last year. I would almost think that number is far, far higher in 2019, right? There's several, just in the past few months, there were several murders. So my guess is that these numbers are going up and up statistically, and Uber needs to get a grip on it, right? And where we can contribute, where we can participate, is put ideas out there, come up with solutions, right? So they adopt these solutions and maybe program, maybe something completely new is needed, right? Because companies generally tend to look how things were done over the last 100 years, right? If, like, for example, trucks were built in a specific way, and then suddenly a disruptor like the Cybertruck comes along. If you look at historically how all the trucks were built, it was the same design. Nobody ever stepped out of the mold until the Cybertruck. So it has to be the same with safety. Safety is always handled in a specific way. Hey, we know 911, we know our emergency lines, we know that there's maybe a panic button, but maybe there's something out there. Maybe some genius driver comes up with something and gets a patent, sorry, that's a difficult one, gets a patent for a security device or a safety procedure or a technology app that will help the rideshare industry, right? And hopefully makes a lot of money. So, Paula, what's going on? FFS, go away. You're an idiot. Who's FFS? Guys, I don't want any fighting and craziness in this room. Let me tell you, I'll flush you out very, very quickly. So let me just read this to you. Uber said on Thursday that it had reports of 3,045 sexual assaults during its rides in the United States in 2018, with 9 people murdered and 58 killed in crashes. In its first study detailing unsafe incidents on the ride-hailing platform. The number of incidents represented a fraction, just 0.0002% of Uber's 1.3 billion rides in the United States last year. The company said there are few comparable figures to judge Uber's safety record against. The New York Police Department, which keeps a register of sex crimes and rapes that occur on transit systems in New York, counted 533 in 2018. So that's sort of the only number that they have that they can compare against. But even one of Uber's top executives said the company's findings were difficult to stomach, right? Tony West's Uber chief legal officer led the compilation of the safety report. Now, let me tell you why he led the compilation of the safety report. It was demanded from him, right? The agencies, cities, the city of London in the UK demanded this from this legal team, right? Show us the numbers so that we prepared and we can start doing things about it, right? Tony West wouldn't go out there and just issue this report. His hand was forced on this, right? So he can't turn around and call himself the big hero here because, hey, he initiated this report. It was him and his executives that kept all of these stories hush, 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 covered until the stories broke. So to the level that I can trust the guy, that he said, hey, we got to bring out this report. No, his hand was forced. So Paula, Bella, guys, do not pick up on pool trips. Pool trips are a disaster waiting to happen. Paula says she grew up in Poland and Scotland. If anyone didn't know that, now you do, right? So were you born in Scotland? Where were you born? In Edinburgh, in Glasgow? Where were you born, Paula? Share with us. So the numbers are jarring and hard to digest, Tony West, Uber's chief legal officer, said in an interview. What it says is that Uber is a reflection of the society it serves. Safety has been a long-running Achilles heel for ride-hailing companies, which depend on a large volume of people using their service. Uber, the world's biggest, chose to be transparent about cataloging sexual assaults, murders, and crash fatalities as it has faced growing pressure over these issues, right? So now they choose to be transparent, only now, right? Believe me, in all these years, they were never transparent. These numbers, 2018, 2017, 2016, 2015, were always kept hush-hush. Never, they were never transparent. Their hand was forced, right? Because as it says there, it had faced growing pressure over these issues. Thanks to drivers, thanks to social media, tons and tons of pressure on this most important factor, safety and security. Thanks to agencies, cities, mayors, transport organizations that say, hey, this is a huge concern. It was broken in the media, do something about it, report about it, right? So he ain't the golden child, my friends, Tony West, and he shouldn't take credibility for this, for saying, hey, we are transparent. You are so far from transparent, and we all know that. Professor, please challenge Dara K, says Gary Kubetta, one of my very loyal subscribers who I love dearly. Gary is an awesome character. You want me to challenge Dara K? I'll challenge him right now, right? So Dara K, if you're listening in, any of your employees are listening in, please pass this message on to Dara K. If you come across this message, Dara K, because somebody told you to watch at the 18-minute mark what I'm telling you, I am challenging you to bring down this figure of 3,000 plus incidents by 50% at the end of 2020. So I challenge Dara K to issue a report at the end of 2020 and show drivers, show the public, and show the world that you, Dara K, Khosrowshahi, actually care, that you deserve that salary, right? And if you bring down the numbers by 50%, I would say you deserve about half your salary. So my challenge to you today, Dara K, is very simple. Reduce those figures by 50% and show us less than 1,500 sexual assaults by the end of 2020. I believe that can be done if and only if and when you decide to be a true leader, Dara K, and actually do something about safety and security, right? So challenge is given to him. He has 365 days to comply. Are you happy with that, Gary? I think that's a very, very fair challenge I just made. Many ride-hailing companies initially thrived by flouting regulations and allowing almost anyone with a car to become a driver without the screening and licenses required in the taxi industry. Reports of sexual assault and murders have since become a regular occurrence as ride-hailing has become a mainstay of urban transportation. Many of the companies face a growing number of lawsuits over safety incidents. And the good thing is, is that these class action suits over safety incidents keep on coming. And that alone puts a ton of pressure on Uber and Lyft to actually pull up their socks and do something about this hot topic, right? Because they are just paying settlement after settlement after settlement. So the solution for a CEO should be, hey, we're paying so much on legal fees. We're being sued so often. We've been highlighted negatively in the media so often. How do we get a grip on safety and security, right? So instead of spending $90 million collectively, Uber, Lyft, and DoorDash on fighting AB5, I give you the second challenge, Dara K. Logan Green, and to the CEO of DoorDash. Take that, you're going to lose that AB5. You have already lost it. Take that $90 million. Don't try and set up a war fund. Set up that $90 million to combat problems and issues that you have in the area, in the field of safety and security. That is my second challenge right there. Allentown, Tony, good to see his face here. Very distinct face, big smile. You would have to stop people from drinking alcohol if you want those numbers down. That is a brilliant statement and a very true statement, right? Because alcohol, couple of glasses later, and people change big time, right? The aggression comes out, the control over your body comes out, the instincts come out, the animal instincts come out. And, you know, I would say highly intoxicated people obviously cannot drive, but they're just not in control of themselves. And they may think at that time, hey, I can do whatever, whenever I wish to that girl or to that guy, right? Or to that child, even worse, right? Because alcohol was a big, big part of it. And 100% correct. So that being said, and I really like what Allentown Tony, friend and subscriber, has said here, because let's focus on that for a second. Maybe there should be some sort of device or some sort of mechanism that if we suspect a person is highly intoxicated, that we register that before the trip, right? Before the trip, like there's a button, and the button basically says, I believe the passenger getting in my car is intoxicated or high, just so that they're on the alert. So now the trip starts, right? Uber, the company, has been notified that the driver suspects, and I'm just thinking out loud here, and I could be completely crazy, but just run with me and maybe work on this idea and make it better. That's your job, right? That if the driver, lady or gentleman, suspects the passenger is drunk and there's a problem, and it could be 1 o'clock in the morning, 12 o'clock at night, that there is a feature on the app that just puts the company on alert. I believe I have a problem client on board, right? So that alert then would set up maybe a series of further actions, right? So that they know that they are notified that they should be on standby. And wherever you want to take that to, right, there should be some system in place that builds in additional protection mechanisms on that trip. So just run with it. Now, dash cams, sadly, you know, that some states, and I think Dustin reported on that like in his state of Florida, where he was driving, he's in New Jersey right now, he stated that you just could not use the dash cams, right? It was just you didn't get the consent of the passenger, so it was illegal. In the state he's right now, New Jersey, I believe I heard him say that, is that he can openly and freely use his dash cam. My dash cam is up there, right? It's not on, right? But if need be, I just push it in. and what it tells each and every passenger that gets into my car. And some people will ask, and those are the people I pay very close attention to. Hey, do you have a dash cam in your car? That means that person has some sort of issue with that dash cam. Now, if you're like one of my NBA player celebrities or CEOs or actors or actresses of Hollywood that I drive, I totally understand where they're coming from. And I tell them right away, no, I don't film you. This is if I maybe have a problem passenger on board, intoxicated passenger on board, I'm ready if I need to film that. But no, I am not filming you. I've had many celebrities ask me, hey, is that dash cam on? They don't want to be filmed. They don't want to see have their face or their discussions that are being held in the car publicized to the outside world on YouTube. And I'd never cross them on that, and I'd never break their trust. But dash cams are a huge, huge deterrent. And spending that extra $3 or $4 on a sign that you can get from Amazon, warning people at the moment they're in the car, they're being filmed, of course, only if it's allowed and the laws and the regulations allow it in that state. But any little mechanism we can have in our car that breaks down, that minimizes these type of safety issues. So Paula says, I was deactivated because they saw my videos on the Rideshare Guys channel. Wow. Rideshare 411, lots of info here, everybody. And I want to give a huge shout out to Rideshare 411, my bro from the OC. I appreciate you, my friend. And the other day, I put out a challenge and I said, hey, make a video on this, ladies and gentlemen, right? On the changes, and that the changes that Uber is bringing out in California apparently should be for all states. And Rideshare 411 just took the ball, made a video, put it out there and said, hey, Rideshare Professor, I did the challenge. And, you know, these are the type of characters we need that immediately, you know, when the going gets tough, the tough get going, they film, they're exposed, and they put it on social media. Remember that video that I made about Uber's changes that they just want to give Californians and that other states don't have yet? Well, I said, if we keep on pushing the story on social media, we get every single driver to enjoy those new privileges. And if we keep on focusing on the safety and security story, the biggest issue, right, which this is about our lives, right? This is the difference of being dead or alive, my friends. Dead or alive. That's a fact, right? Being assaulted or not assaulted. Being sexually assaulted or not sexually assaulted during a trip, right? So this is our duty to share on social media, make our own videos, our own suggestions, our own solutions. Paula, as a veteran, as a driver and YouTuber, she could be making videos from a female's perspective. I, as a female driver, this is what I go through. This is what I suggest. These are some of the solutions and the tips I would like to give to Uber and Lyft. And believe me, they listen, because many, many things that are discussed here in this channel, in this live channel, many of the ideas and solutions brought forward by competent drivers have been incorporated by the company, right? I have seen things here, and I have a memory like an elephant, that go way, way back that Uber is doing today. So if you're trying to tell me that Uber doesn't go through these channels and read and take notes, they do, right? So whatever you put out there is extremely important. Francisco Magdaleno says, Uber's needed to reform them child behaviors. We want transparency on this company. Uber don't want anything to be transparent. Uber is any equipment who is operating robo company. Humans are not here. I totally understand what you're saying there, Francisco. I get it. And we got to use social media to put the lights on them, right? To hold up the mirror on exactly those issues, that they're not being transparent, right? And that we demand and we deserve as independent contractors, if we're working for them, we deserve transparency, right? We're one team. We're all in this together. This is not just the island of Uber executives and employees. Remember, I just made the video. They have these fancy toilets. They have their own toilets. They have their own more expensive porta potties. And we just get the trashy version, right? Doesn't work like that. This is a team effort, right? If you have restrooms in a hub, should be a restroom for all. If you have porta potties outside, there should be the best porta potties, and they should be available to employees and drivers. We're not second class, my friends. You're not the kings and we're not the peasants, right? You're not the queens and we're not the common folk. We're all one level. We're one team and we're in this together. And Derek Kay needs to understand this language that I'm saying. It's very simple language. It's not complicated. Professor is telling you, right? Keep it simple. Keep everyone on one level and be a team player. Executives need to be team players with drivers. Employees need to be team players, right? You cannot have a hub. Like it's happened to me 3 times, right? It's happened to several of my colleagues. I walk into the Los Angeles hub and take note, the manager at Los Angeles hub, because I will be there soon again and I'll expose the story once again, right? If the going gets tough and these people cannot handle our inquiries, cannot handle the problems that they're creating for us, and we're coming with a complaint and we want the issue rectified, if they cannot handle it, they manhandle you and have security agents, security guards take you out, right? Remove you, right? That's a chicken shit coward move by any hub manager, right? And yes, I'm talking to you, the coward at Los Angeles hub, and to the lady that served me that day, that coward that could not handle the issue. You would rather get a security team to intimidate, manhandle an individual and throw them out, right? So this culture needs to stop, right? Transparency, right? And communication, open communication, problem solving, solutions. That is how the executives at Uber need to start thinking. How can we fix safety issues? How can we fix security issues? How can we fix the issues at the hubs so that we're not constantly in the media? And Derek Kay, Logan Green, more Derek Kay, right? And Travis Cordell Kalanick, right? You wonder why you're in the media every single day. It's because you fail to run the company in an honest, transparent way. You would rather cheat, hide, and perform every shenanigan under the sun with the hopes of not getting caught. We will catch you out every step of the way. We are there, especially the drivers, right? Drivers are so smart, right? Drivers are in the car reading every day, gaining information. Knowledge is power, right? We read and read and read. We know we're on top of everything. Worldwide politics, worldwide events, these stories, right? And the news is shared with me within seconds. I get articles from multiple drivers. Dustin gets articles because we're all interconnected, right? In this social media world with our cell phones, with the ability to read, communicate. And that's what we do very well as drivers. We share information quickly and fast, and we're on top of it, right? Timothy Johnson in the house. Appreciate you. Marco Suarez. Yes, Paula, really sad for the driver. This safety issue is very serious. And yes, it is. It's very, very serious. And Uber and Lyft need to come up with some serious solutions, right? This is where the money needs to be spent. A 4-digit PIN code. Is that all you can do? Having all these meetings with the politicians. Oh, we need 2 number plates. Come on, guys. Get a little bit more creative. That 4-digit PIN codes have been out there forever. 2 number plates, been out there forever. Get a little bit more juiced up and a little bit more excited about the safety issues, please, executives and politicians, right? We matter. We matter. Because, you know, whether you're a lobbyist or a politician in Washington, D.C., we drive your silly ass to the restaurant and back to the hotel, right? We matter. So the Garcia says, The private for hire driver is making a comeback, and that is why I'm doing so well in that field, and that is why my limousine company is thriving. The amount of new clients I got in the last 3 to 6 months, right, that I just have to keep on growing now, right, to accommodate all those trips, right? So people want drivers that they can trust. That's what I announced with GOAT, is that you build up, it's relationship building, private for hire drivers, scheduled trips, right? And Uber jumped right on top of that, right? So that is a step in the right direction, matching up people that know people, passengers that know drivers. It's a relationship that takes place, right? It's a synergy. Hey, by the way, Torsten, by the way, Marcus, by the way, Mohammed, by the way, Timothy, by the way, Paula, I have a trip coming up next week. You're one of my 3 or 4 or 5 preferred drivers. I'm giving you the option to do this trip, right? So they know right there and then. There's not an unknown, right? I'm not getting into an unknown pool, unknown driver, unknown passenger. No, these are certainties. These are relationships that are built, right? And that'll cut that down. So my challenge to Dara K was very, very simple. Gary Kubeda gave me the challenge, and I gave the challenge to Dara K directly. Bring these numbers down by 50% at the end of 2020. Mr. and Mrs. Brown, thanks for all your videos. Love you much. I love you back, Mr. and Mrs. Brown, and my love to all Chicago drivers. Scott Tucker's in the house. Do you agree they need to use Uber Pro for higher pay? Can you elaborate a little bit more on that, Scott? Where are you going with that? Do you agree they need to use Uber Pro for higher pay? Not quite following your chain of thought there. If you could just elaborate and explain that question, give a little bit more of an explanation, I'll give you an answer. Dustin, yeah, Dustin made a great video on this already, mentioned all these points, and it's good, that the Dustins, the Torstens, the Kevins, and all of that keep on pushing these safety videos. And I know that I would say the 2 YouTubers who are hardcore on this safety issue that keep on reporting, pushing for reform, for reform, it's Dustin and definitely myself. I can tell you that, right? So, together, I know he wants change. I know that Dustin wants the very best for every driver out there. That's why his channel is so successful. And we have the possibility through these great members, these great drivers of our house, right? Dustin is driving house, my Rideshare Professor house, to bring up this issue time and time again, right? And if you think that the Uber CEO or the Uber team or the Uber legal team doesn't know Dustin's channel or doesn't know Rideshare Professor's channel, think again. Think again. We are on their radar. They certainly don't like that we push the story too much. It makes them look rather silly in the court of public opinion, right? And as Dustin says, that's right, guys, use common sense. Always, always use common sense. There's certain common sense things that you can do right off the bat, right, in that car, on that trip, that will minimize, will reduce problems, reduce safety problems, reduce sexual assault problems, right? Reading people, knowing who's getting in the car, knowing where they are positioned in the car, right? All of these factors play into bringing these percentages down. So Scott Tucker says, well, for higher pay, make it levels gold and platinum and diamond Uber Pro more per mile. I see. So what you're saying is you reach that highest level and you get more incentives to earn. It's a great theory there, Scott, but it has to be, better rates have to be available to all, not just to the people that are willing to drive around the clock in the hamster wheel, clocking up hours and miles and points to remain Uber Pro so that they're in touch and can get a better per rate mileage. No, this is a given thing, right? Let's talk about the givens. Flexibility to choose whichever company you wish, right? Flexibility to drive whenever you wish, right? Decent, fair rates and pay for everyone. You know, the right to express yourself or have a body of rideshare drivers that represents the whole, right? The right to safety and security. There's 5 or 10 given factors that every independent contractor should have as a starting point, right? And then you can add on all the other. Allentown, Tony is out. This is bye from PA, going driving. You have a good night, and you drive safe, my friend. Be safe out there on the roads. Here it's raining in LA. I don't know what weather you're experiencing across the country. The topic today we're talking about is that there are over 3,045 sexual assaults reported last year, over 5,981 reported in the last 2 years. So the trend, if you compare 2017 to 2018, the trend, it's going up, right? So many ride-hailing companies initially thrived by flouting regulations and allowing almost anyone with a car to become a driver without the screening and licenses required in the taxi industry. Reports of sexual assault and murders have since become a regular occurrence as ride-hailing has become a mainstay of urban transportation. Many of the companies are face a growing number of lawsuits over safety incidents. In 2017, a woman who was raped by her Uber driver in India sued the company and its executives for obtaining and mishandling her medical records. She later settled for an undisclosed sum. This week, 19 women joined a lawsuit against Lyft, saying that they had been sexually assaulted during rides arranged by the company. Uber and others have introduced more safety features and procedures in recent years. Uber has rolled out automated technology to regularly check drivers' driving records and criminal history. Since 2018, it said it has deactivated 40,000 drivers. I wonder how many of those 40,000 drivers were deactivated wrongfully, right? I'd like some numbers. Then it continues. Lyft is committing to releasing our own safety transparency report and working within the industry to share information about drivers who don't pass our initial or continuous background checks who are deactivated from our platform, the company spokesman Alexandra Lamana said on Thursday. Senator Richard Blumenthal, a Democrat from Connecticut, said ride-hailing companies need to do more on safety, such as conduct fingerprint-based background checks of drivers. What he fails to say, time and time again, what politicians fail to say, they just point the fingers at drivers. What are you guys coming up with, companies and politicians alike, that will also address the issues that passengers bring into the car, especially on pool trips? Excuse me, it's got something in my throat. All of those steps are starters because these ride-hailing companies have been abjectly failing in their duty to report against predators or criminals, he said, right? So now that the media breaks all these stories about sexual assaults, now that the floodlights are shining on them, now suddenly they want to become all transparent and they start sharing numbers, right? They were never really preparing us or letting us know or sharing with us how many predators or criminals are truly out there, right? And if you're a driver, let me just tell every driver directly in his face, if your intentions are not pure, if your intentions are not good, if you think you're going to use this platform to feed on the innocent, to feed on the weak, to feed on women, to feed on children, get the F out, right? Get out, you're trash, right? I say that directly to any driver. If you have a problem with that, gladly challenge you, right? If your intentions are not pure, don't be in the business, get out, right? If you don't understand the laws and regulations of this country that rule the rideshare business, get out, right? If you think you're above the law and you can break the law, get out. We don't need you. We don't need you under the Uber umbrella. We don't need you under the Lyft umbrella, right? You're trash and you give the company and good drivers a bad name. Get out. Uber and Lyft are struggling financially. This year, both companies staged prominent initial public stock offerings that went on to disappoint Wall Street. Yes, sure they did. The companies are also losing enormous sums of money because of the continuous expense of attracting drivers and passengers. So, the continuous expense of attracting passengers and drivers, let's stay there. So if you're not fixing the safety issue and the security issue, if you're not coming up with healthy, good solutions that work or that you test, right? And just think that the very, very basics will do the trick. No, they won't. If you're not spending the money on safety and security, right? These problems will come up again and again and again. You will lose drivers, you will lose passengers, and you're going to spend money recruiting. So it's a vicious cycle, right? It's a vicious cycle. Don't spend the money on safety, security. Passengers see a report like this. Oh my God, I don't want to be the next victim. I'd rather go with a taxi, pay more, right? Or whatever the case may be. Or I'd rather get my private driver and pay a little bit more. I'm out of Uber. So Uber has to then spend more money recruiting a new passenger and a new driver that was kicked out. They need to get a grip on this issue. Ed Steigelmeier walks into the house and says, hello, all my friends, and hello back, Ed. Good to have you here. Mr. and Mrs. Brown says, amen, amen, and amen. And I appreciate you. I know you have a heart of gold. I can tell you that from all of the messages I have received from Mr. and Mrs. Brown. I know that both them, Mr. and Mrs. Brown, have a heart of gold and that they are a pure asset and joy to have on my platform. I appreciate you. So I continue reading. Excuse the frog in my throat. It's in there somewhere. I can't get it out. Uber and Lyft are struggling financially. I already read that. The companies are also losing enormous sums of money because of the continuous expense of attracting drivers and passengers. I also just said that last month, Uber posted a quarterly loss of $1.2 billion. The report did not give a comprehensive picture of safety across Uber's operations. It provided no information on the 65 countries outside the United States where Uber offers its services. Maybe because those numbers are higher. Maybe because they're embarrassed enough about this report. So again, let me read this. The report, and here they come out. Tony West, remember in this article, oh, we're being transparent. Transparent. No, transparency is, let's give you the report on India. Let's give you the report on Australia. Let's give you the report on Europe. Let's give you the report on Africa. Let's break Africa down for you. This is what the report is in Nigeria. This is what the report is in South Africa. This is what the report is in Kenya. Let's break Europe down for you. This is what the report is in Belgium, in Denmark, in Germany, in Portugal, in Spain, in France, in Greece, in Wales, in Ireland, in Scotland, in Holland, in Russia, blah, 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 blah. Bring the reports. If you want to show transparency, show us true transparency. So again, the faker, the biggest faker of them, of the lot, Derek K, Tony West, these are just loose little words saying, oh, we're going to be transparent. No, you're not. There it is right there. The report did not give a comprehensive picture of safety across Uber's operations. It provided no information on the 65 countries outside the United States where Uber offers its services. And seeing that Tony West wants to slap his picture and his title on this report, my challenge to you right now, Tony West, and any employee relaying this, any legal person in your team seeing this video, relay this to Tony West. My challenge to you is, let's see the report for all 65 countries. Otherwise, you cannot preach that you are a transparent company, right? So pull up your socks, Tony West. Get to work. The drivers deserve this. Pull up your socks, Derek Kay. Bring out the report on all 65 countries. Every driver, whether you're Indian, Spanish, German, Mexican, I don't care. You deserve to know in what type of environment you're driving in, right? And the same goes to Lyft. Logan Green, John Zimmer, pull up your socks. Show us the report for the United States. Show us the report for all the other countries. I know that you also operate in Canada. Show us the numbers. And more importantly, show us the money. Show us the money that you actually care. You know, with the money, we can buy honey, right? If you're paying a sub-minimum hourly wages, we can't buy the honey. James Campbell in the house. Uber is transparently full of shit. I love it. Man, that guy's got good lines. James, you are appreciated, brother. So James Campbell shares with us, my new job just sprang $145 on Timberland boots in my third week, paid for Thanksgiving and the day after on week 2. That makes me happy, my friend. That makes me happy. And when I'm going to throw the biggest party of all is when I collect a $500,000 settlement from Uber. It'll happen. I already put it out in the universe. I have all the paperwork. Everything's in motion. Everything's in motion. Watch. I will show you that I will get a $500,000 settlement from Uber for all the stuff that I've done for that company and for the crap that they want to give me in return. I will collect, folks. Right? You think the little guy can't collect, you're wrong. I've seen victory after victory after victory the last few months. Why? Because we're taking our power back. Rideshare Safety Guide, that is the title of his YouTube channel. So I'm gonna go to your channel, Rideshare Safety Guide, and I want to see videos on rideshare safety. Do you have a lot of videos? And if so, let's rally around Rideshare Safety Guide. Let's go and subscribe to his channel. If that is the title of your channel, it should all be about safety. And if you have good videos in there, I'm the first person that will support you and send traffic your way. He says, yo, we need more money because I got to buy more than honey. Buy is B-U-Y, just for FYI, right? Buy is B-U-I, just FYI. But I know exactly what you're trying to say. So please do. Rideshare Safety Guide, right? I want to go to Rideshare Safety Guide's channel and see him as a guide for safety, right? So show us the videos and we will rally around you. Fireman Rideshare 411 says, everyone have a good night. Time to go make money so we can pay for our honey. You drive safe there, my friend. And I will meet up with OC 411 somewhere. We're going to cross paths, have lunch together. It's on me, my brother. I appreciate you. Scott Tucker says, same here. I will subscribe. I like that. See, so even Scott now is challenging a Rideshare Safety Guide. Bring out the good safety guide videos and we will come and subscribe. I like that, right? Boom. And he says, videos coming soon. And that is announced on what day? On December the 6th, right? So I will hold you to it. I will hold you to that Rideshare Safety Guide. When you say videos coming soon, I will send you a reminder if I do not see those videos. Rideshare Trickster in the house. JP. There he is. And well, another phenomenal up-and-coming YouTube star. Go and subscribe to him, Rideshare Trickster. I apologize for not having all the time in the world, but it's a full day running 3 companies and having kids and having girlfriend that has 3 kids and Christmas and Thanksgiving. Boy, oh boy, my head is spinning. It'd been 19, 20-hour days every day the last 2 weeks, 4, 5 hours sleep. And I think I'm feeling it. I haven't gotten a cold in the last 3.5 years, so I pray I don't get one now. But I do feel rather run down. Rideshare Trickster, go to his channel. Again, a great opportunity for you to make a video on this topic, right? I will put the link underneath the video. Just go and pick it up there, Rideshare Trickster. And he has a great spin on a story. So does Kevin the Entrepreneur. Everyone has their interpretation of an article, right? I'm a big fan of the New York Times, right? So in this case, I'm quoting an online article from the New York Times, but I like to sit there in my car in the downtime and read the hard copy. I do not mind paying $3. Why? Because my clients in the car appreciate the fact that there's a hard copy behind the one seat on the left side, LA Times. It's how I do it every day. They don't even have to think. They know left side, LA Times, right side, New York Times with all the other magazines, right? So that they become conditioned. Oh yeah, Torsten has the LA Times on board. It's on the left side. I'm going to get in the car. Or if I want to read the New York Times afterwards, it's on the right side, right? So we get to read, we get to learn a lot. I love that. See, that's my man there. Rideshare challenge accepted. Trickster. Sorry, I got to check. I have a potential buyer. One second, can you text me? Wait, I will send. Cool. Sell that sucker tonight, made myself some good money. Rideshare Trickster, I appreciate it. It says, challenge accepted. We will meet up soon. We will. As soon as things start quietening down a little bit, I'd love to get to that. I also like the video of Dark Road Run, Trickster, and Dave, the Uber slave. I think you guys spent like 3 hours together. It was a great video. I enjoyed that. Much love. So, let me just finish this up. The report did not give a comprehensive picture of safety across Uber's operations. It provided no information on the 65 countries outside the United States where Uber offers its services. I just said a few minutes ago, we challenge them to release those reports. In Brazil, India, and elsewhere, murders and assaults stemming from ride-hailing services have been widely reported. Didi Chuxing suspended some of its services in China and fired executives last year after a female passenger was raped and killed. Right there and then, right? Look at that. That company took action and fired its executives because one passenger was raped and killed, and the executives were fired. The same thing. Fire Derek Kay's ass. Fire Logan Green's ass. They don't deserve to be in that company. They don't deserve that type of money with these type of results. This is on your backs because you're not doing anything about it. 3,045 sexual assaults, 5,981 in 2 years, right? Your asses would have been fired in China, right? Because that Didi Chang, the company, they don't want those humiliating stories, right? So one person, one female passenger was raped and killed, boom, fired. Can you imagine how long ago Derek Kay and Logan Green would have been fired if they just remotely tried to run Didi? If Derek Kay was the CEO of Didi, his head would have been chopped on day one. Still, Uber study establishes a benchmark for safety in an industry where such data has been scarce. The report covered the safety of both riders and drivers. Murder victims were drivers. Charming. passengers and third parties. In cases of rape, Uber said 92% of the reported victims were riders. But drivers reported other types of sexual assaults at roughly the same rate as riders. Interesting, very interesting stuff. Let me read this again. Michael Finch says, if this shit happens in Indiana, Uber would be gone. It's happened in Indiana. Trust me, there have been sexual assaults in Indiana. You think that Indiana, this doesn't apply? It applies to every country, every city, every zip code, sadly. The report covered the safety of both riders and drivers. Murder victims were drivers, passengers, and third parties. In cases of rape, Uber said 92% of the reported victims were riders. But drivers reported other types of sexual assaults at roughly the same rate as riders, Uber said. The company was not specific about who the perpetrators were. So that's all we demand. Be specific, be transparent, right? Uber said it had cataloged 2,936 sexual assaults in 2017 and 3,045 in 2018, ranging from unwanted kissing of what it called a non-sexual body part to attempted rape and rape. The largest category was non-consensual touching of a sexual body part, like someone's mouth or genitals. Charming, right? And they should do something about it, right? Female drivers, especially female passengers, should not have to go through this. And male drivers, let's say, and they're not all just, most of the cases are conducted by males, male drivers or passengers. Don't get in a car if those are your intentions. Don't drive if those are your intentions. Rideshare Trixer says, I have a great video geared for female passengers. It's called Always Have an Exit Strategy. Okay, so he has a video out there. Every driver should see it. It's called Always Have an Exit Strategy. I watched it. It's good. The number of fatal crashes related to Uber trips was 49 in 2017 and 58 in 2018. You know, with the amount of trips taken every day, I guess one could say those are low, right? But I still don't want to see 49 or 58 people die in road crashes. The statistics included accidents that occurred outside Uber vehicles, such as when a passenger was struck after exiting a ride, and crashes in which Uber drivers were not at fault. That's also true. Doesn't always mean if there's a crash and a death that it's the driver's fault, right? It could be a guy driving and then boom, somebody runs the red light and smashes into you and kills the passenger and the drivers, right? So I would say all in all, drivers are fantastic drivers and they know how to drive because they taking trip after trip, road after road. They know the lanes, they know the byways, they know the freeways, they know the highways, they know the exits, they know how to maneuver and are generally very, very, very safe people, right? So, but the unknown factors, drunk driver swerving out, somebody skipping a red light, somebody smashing into you, I guess those are the numbers I'd like to see, right? How many were really, of these deaths in crashes were really from drivers who were at fault versus another car slamming into a vehicle and killing an individual? Give us some more specifics here. Be transparent. Uber disclosed 10 murders in 2017 and 9 in 2018. 7 victims were drivers, 8 were passengers, and 4 were third parties, like bystanders outside the Uber vehicles of the company. I like the way they always say outside the Uber vehicle to push the legal blame, right? Outside the Uber vehicle. Throughout its study, Uber emphasized that 99.9% of its trips were safe and that it was taking an unusual step by releasing the data in the first place. No. This is not an unusual first step. Your hand was forced on this, Tony West, right? You were forced to release these numbers. This is not an unusual step. This is a step that you should have taken years and years and years ago and provided an annual report to all agencies. You never did that. You kept the numbers hush, you kept them secret. And now that the top came flying off and all these sexual assault media reports were out of the bag, they were forced to bring it out, right? So it's not like they can say, oh, we're taking an unusual step by releasing the data in the first place. No, should have released it from day one, right? Throughout its study, Uber emphasized that, I already said that. Sexual violence experts agreed that publishing the numbers was an important step in combating abuse across the industry, that a company is willing to peel back the drapes and let us look into what is happening is, to me, the success, said Cindy Southworth, the executive vice president of the National Network to End Domestic Violence and a member of Uber's Safety Advisory Board. Oh, so she's a president of National Network to End Domestic Violence. And then she's also a member of the Uber Safety Advisory Board, who apparently never, this is how hypocritical these executives are. You guys know where I'm going with this, right? She's the vice president of the National Network to End Domestic Violence. And she's also a member of Uber Safety Advisory Board. And now she says the company is willing to peel back the drapes and let us look into what is happening is, to me, the success. Why wasn't the success there, Cindy Southworth, after year one? Why is it that you, as the president, the vice president of National Network to End Domestic Violence, was keeping this all hush-hush? You're sitting on the board of directors at Uber. You never spoke about this. You always kept those numbers hidden. And now that it blew out, oh, what a success it is to issue this report. Don't give me this crap, Cindy Southworth. You're a hypocrite, man. You work for the National Network to End Domestic Violence. I'm sure that is great. And then you're sleeping with the devil. You're sleeping with the devil, right? So, and now only in 2019, oh, it's a success. We're going to show these numbers. If you had that title as the vice president of National Network to End Domestic Violence, if you had the title of Uber Safety Advisory Board, you should have demanded that these numbers were released each and every single year. In my eyes, you're an absolute hypocrite. You want it both ways. Uber began studying the issue of sexual assault in late 2017 under its newly hired chief executive, Derek Kay. Oh God, if I read that name, I just want to throw up. That's like instant vomit there. He recruited Mr. West. Oh God, I want to throw up again. Brr, brr. 2 names in one article. Spare me. Former Justice Department official to the company, and asked him to review cases of sexual harassment and assault among Uber rides last year. Funny, huh? It's funny how these guys only wake up and do something after we, the people, we, the drivers, we, the media, shine the light on them and hold the mirror up. And that it becomes so embarrassing that they have to talk about it, that the public is demanding answers years and years and years later of not being transparent, hiding numbers, doing the shenanigans, all undercover, blah, blah, blah. And now, boom, lid is off, right? Stories are out in the open. Now they want to start talking and cooperating. Yes, we shall cooperate with you. F off. Great car deal says better rates for drivers 2020. I'll take that. How much for a TCP? $800 to $1,200. There you have it. Timothy Newell in the house. How are you, my friend? The one way you guys can make a difference, right, and is to get a channel going, is to just voice your opinion. Just connect and show one public member out there how you feel, right? How you Okay, let me just send this right away. Okay, 1 second. Let me just call this guy. I'm reading. Rideshare Safety Guide. How are you, Professor? I feel a little bit run down, to be honest. We work too many crazy hours. And I don't get sick because I always eat healthy and I take good supplements. But I just feel like I've been doing too much. And it's a good thing that your body has checks and balances, right? It's a good thing when the universe tells you, hey, you're doing a little bit too much. It's a signal to yourself that says, hey, buddy, how are you? Is it Gabriel? Excellent. You'd rather do it now than later? I'm okay with that, but I would need at least... yes, traffic is pretty bad right now, I can tell you that. So 7... no, it's on right on the corner of Satikoi and Woodman. I will send you the address right now. It's right off the 405. Where are you coming from? No, it's where are you coming from, Venice, or where are you coming from? Oh, you're coming from Culver City. So you're driving 405 north, and then you exit Sherman Way, which is just past the 101. Yeah. No, you're not that far. I'm going to send you the address. Yes, I will. Absolutely. Perfect. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate it. Yes, 7 p.m. is perfect. I'll be there. Okay. Thanks, Gabriel. Bye-bye. Bye. Well, I said to Gabriel, show me the money. Bring me the cash. You could buy one of my cars. Great car deals. $199. Need a car. # need a car. I like that. Paula, thank you, sweetheart. You're really cool. Gary Kubeta is back. Cool. Let's talk Rideshare 101. Joe, Uber makes everyone sick. The Uber virus. I didn't catch the Uber virus. They can't get to me. Great Cardiel says, Volkswagen are very nice. Paula says, thank you, Great Cardiels. Much love. AB5. God. AB5 is 2 letters and 1 number that sound good to me. That's a game changer, right? Now they just got to show us that they really want to make a difference. Mark Roughton, dealing with sinus infection now. Sinus infection is no fun because what happens with a sinus infection is that firstly, your whole head starts swelling up. Everything's infected here and it starts going back into the lungs, which if it escalates could be worst case scenario pneumonia. So the best thing you can do on a sinus infection, drink a lot of liquids. There are specific decongestants that'll help a little bit, release that pressure, right? But the main thing is just to feed it a lot of fluids to flush it out. Dara K is Agent Smith from The Matrix, yeah. And Tony West is his little biatch. Those two. Oof. Don't get me started. Don't get me started. Gargle salt water. Very true. Sea salt water. Not the sodium, not the... I'll be near. If I can kick his ass, I'll be near. Give me that title. Let me jump straight into the movie and kick his royal ass. I'll do that for you. I'm not going to get sick, Gary. I'm not going to get sick. I'm not going to get sick. I'm going to fight this. I haven't been sick for 3.5 freaking years. I'm not going to get sick. Paul Figueroa is in the house. Says, San Diego is rocking. I love it. See, upbeat. Always fired up. Shout out to Paul Figueroa. I hope it's a good weekend for you. Paul Figueroa in the house. All right, my friends. Big T. Got to get my Christmas ornament. My kid said, you got to get your Christmas ornament on the tree, Daddy. You got to paint it. I'm like, okay. No pressure. No pressure. All right, let me just send this guy this address. Give me 1 second. Sending. Apologize, I'll be back in a second. I have a buyer for a car who wants to meet me at 7 o'clock tonight, and I think I'm going to do it. And I know by the communication he's a serious buyer. So it's good. Money, money, money isn't funny in the rideshare world. Money, 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 all together now, isn't funny in the rideshare world. All the things I could do if Uber would pay me some money, just a little money, to buy some honey in the rideshare world. ABBA. Anybody know that freakish band? ABBA. ABBA, going way, way back. You guys know it? The winner takes it all. Chiquitita, da 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 da. You guys know that? Garcia knows it. You with me there, Garcia? ABBA. Love them. It's very uplifting, happy. There's 2 couples that look like 2 twins, 2 guys. It looks like interbreeding. Some Swedish 2 guys, 2 girls, long hair. Very successful, 70s, 80s. And they sang a lot of cheesy, uplifting songs. Mamma mia, here we go again. Mama, ba 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 da ba ba. You remember that one? Yeah. Yeah, the one brunette was hot. I'll hand that to you. Abstract Echo. I could have just got rid of that one douchebag. Those 2 guys with the long hair. They look like the Bee Gees a little bit. I guess long hair was in those days. Long, freakish long hair. But yes, she was hot. I'm sure she's still beautiful for her age today. Swedish. Svenska. Dancing queen. You are the dancing queen. Just 17. Can't take rideshare only when you're 18. Dancing queen. Like it, Paul. Yes, Paula. Professor, drink some tea with honey, lemon, and whiskey. I'm gonna make a hot toddy, right? Hot toddy, whatever it's called. Yeah. You used to love ABBA, or you still love ABBA? I think ABBA stays with you. I don't think you can ever say I used to love ABBA. I think ABBA, you will always either you'll love them or you hate them. I love them. I just love those cheesy, uplifting songs. The winner takes it all. Da, 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 da. Money, money, money isn't funny in the rideshare world. Money, money, money isn't funny in Tony West's world. All the things that we could do if we had some rideshare money. This ain't funny around Christmas time. ABBA, ABBA, ABBA. Hot toddy, that's it. Hot toddy all the way. That's what I'm going to do. A hot toddy. Boom, anybody know a hot toddy? Mohammed Khalil says, I love ABBA. I'm with you on that, my friend. Find them so uplifting. If I'm somewhere, I used to go to the roller rink on my roller skates, and then I used to roll, skate around the rink in an old style with those little wheels. Did some backward frickin' action, side action, dancing with the girls there on the roller rink, and then in the background, ABBA. Do do chickadee da 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 da, and you're skating along. 80s, baby. BMXs, bunny hop, bam around the BMXs, 80s, ET, ABBA, roller skating, good times. Crazy haircuts, good times. House music, love house music. House music. Oh, I think Rideshare Trickster is going to fall in love with Paula. He says Paula's charm is contagious. But you're a married man, bro. It's contagious. Yes, it is. She has a way. She sprinkles that contagious Rideshare dust. Uber girl Paula comes into the live stream and sprinkles her Rideshare dust, and all the Rideshare drivers are like, whoa, Paula's in the house. I say that in the most loving and best of ways, of course. Of course. Paula, I used to ice dance. Now, that's one thing I can't do. Ice skating, freaking suck. Used to wipe down, cut my hands. Ice skating is not for me, guys. I suck. Yes. You need Paul's world famous chicken soup. I love it. Damn, you got me hungry now. Yes, Mohammed, I have them in my YouTube music, and I have them in my Amazon music, and I have them in my YouTube music as well. And every now and again, more Depeche Mode, obviously, when I'm going to flashback to the 80s, but every now and again, I'll hit that ABBA song. Abstract Echo said, I played ice hockey for over 35 years. Holy mackerel, tough sport. I love watching it, but man, I would suck at ice hockey. I would fall over and they would score on me. God forbid if I was ever a goalkeeper. Rugby, baby, give blood. That's my sport. Give blood. Boxing and rugby, that's the ones I like. They should have the Andy Ruiz, Anthony Joshua fight on an ice skating ring with ice skates. Can you imagine those two? Big 6'7" Anthony Joshua and the little chubby Anthony Ruiz on ice skates and you have a boxing fight out there. It's in Saudi Arabia. That's where they're doing it. Why? Because they're getting big money. All right. What are we coming up to? 122? 122. All the things I can do. Oof, that's why, you see, Let's Talk Rideshare 101 says, I messed up my knee upon doing a left inner 3-turn. I hit the wall. Oh, knee injuries. Don't we know them? Just sends shivers through my spine. All right. Are we ready for the weekend, folks? I'm ready. I want to get out there. I want to have some fun. I want to make some money. I have 2 more trips tonight. I have a potential buyer for one of my vehicles, one of my trucks. And I'll show you next week what I bought. I bought a few more toys. I cannot wait for the end of 2021 to get the Cybertruck. Delivery on the Cybertruck. I've been following that religiously. Become a huge fan. Ooh, Rideshare Trickster. Don't mess with Rideshare Trickster. Professor is his guard. Paula is his cleaner. Woo-hoo! Boom! How's that? Guys, everybody having fun? Now we need to go out there and make some money. Mark Roughton, thumbs up to you, my friends. Thumbs up to Trickster, to Paula, to Paul, to Mohammed, to Abstract Echo. Let's Talk Rideshare. All the wonderful people in the house. Have an amazing, amazing, amazing weekend. Please stay safe. Please stay away from sexual assaults. Please don't commit any sexual assaults. Please stay away from rape. Please don't rape anyone. Please stay away from murders. Please don't murder anyone. Please come up with constructive, amazing solutions that will make an impact on safety and security in the rideshare business. And on this note, I would like to leave Derek Kay, Logan Green, Tony West with a message. I asked you for transparency of the reports in those 65 countries. Bring them if you're truly transparent. I also set you a challenge to the CEOs of these rideshare businesses. Reduce these numbers by 50% by the end of 2020, right? And then I have another request from Logan Green and Derek Kay on behalf of all rideshare drivers. Money, money, money. Show us the money in the rideshare world. Happy weekend, my friends. Drive safe. Love you all. Thank you. And I'm out.